We cannot hear you.
Yep, there it is. Yep. Now can you hear me, Oksana?
Perfect.
Great. Okay, thank you. All right. So I was I had an appendectomy 3 days before they had the meeting to plan this event. So I drew the short straw. I said, sure, just assign me anything. And I got assigned drawings, Google Drawings, which I had never looked at before. So I'm now 2 weeks out today from my appendectomy, and I'm a little spacey. So if I seem a little spacey or a little jumbled, let me know and slow me down, and I will try to get myself back on track. Has anybody used Google Drawings? Okay. Can anybody imagine wanting to use drawings in class for any reason? Yes. Kim, you said you were interested. What would you think that you might want to use Google Drawings for? What did, oh, at the Summer Institute. Yes. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. Anybody else? Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And so for your students to demonstrate that they understand weather patterns or various different kinds of forces, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Anything else? So I've seen a few interesting uses, suggestions about a few interesting uses of Google Drawings. But let me start by showing you the application. So again, if we wanted to create a new drawing, we would go to Google Drive, click on New, and then go to More. And here we would see Google Drawings as an option. And in doing that, what we'll create is just a blank canvas. Now, I have a couple of options with this blank canvas in terms of aspect and ratio. So for example, maybe I want my students to create a poster. And I can have them create a collaborative poster. So in my class this past semester, a class that Christy and I taught together, we finished with a poster presentation. Students could have used Google Drawings, had we realized. And we can do that with page setup. Just going to File, Page Setup, and we have a few different options here, one of them being a custom option. Whoops, go away. Now you show up. Now when I don't want you to show up, you show up. All right, here's my drive. I created a Google Drawing for this session. I am not an artist in this kind of medium, but I think this gives you a pretty good indication of the various kinds of things that you can do with drawings. I can put a background in my drawing, so you could, for example, lay down a background of a map if you wanted to, and then you could have your students draw on top of it. They could create, they could add, whoops, sorry. They could add lines or arrows to it, various different kinds of lines and arrows. You could have, obviously, you can create text and put a text box in the drawing. So here's a text, whoops. I'm having, sorry, Jeff, you and my ability to use your laptop is definitely limited. So here I can create, I can type some text, and then I could edit the text or format the text any way I wanted to. I could use Google Drawings to create a mind map. So maybe you want your students to create a mind map or an idea map for an assignment before they start working on it. They can do this collaboratively in Google Drawings using the various shapes, arrows, and so forth. Like all of the Google tools, I can pull in an image if I want, exactly the same way that Oksana showed us that we would do with slides. So it's a very powerful and usable drawing tool. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. 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 So if I wanted to save this Google drawing as a JPEG or a TIFF, I can do that. Let's see if I can remember how to do it. But I know that I've seen it. Save page as, I suspect, is going to give me all kinds of options. Here, come on. Perhaps not. I can do that. I've seen it. I think I've just like froze this machine. Where did I see it? Uh-oh, no, what did I do to the, come on, don't be so small. Jeff, what did I just do to your machine to make this display so tiny? Yes, thank you. I just want to get the display back to normal. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
There we go, we're getting there.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Right. Thank you, Chrissy. Now, I just looked at that and seen it, and then lost it. I can duplicate it. I can't embed this document in the same way that you've seen other Google tools being embedded, but I can copy the whole Google drawing to a clipboard and then embed it in a document that way. In which case it's no longer dynamic. It's finished. So I wanted to show you some examples of some things that people have done with Google Drawings, if I can find them. All right, go away. Oh, no, I didn't want to do that, but I did. Come on, go away. Arg. I'm just going to do it this way. Where'd you go? No, go completely away. I had this open, but I can't find it now. Oh, come on. HTTP. There we go. Honestly, I'm sorry. I know. I just come on. There we go. Come on. B-E-N-N-E-R. That was hard. I did. Well, I thought I did. No, I didn't. Yes, I did. Okay. Okay. It's just a little slow. All right. So this is just a website where that I just happened upon that is linked to a little document about Google Drawing. And what this woman has done is she's invited people to create their own Google Drawings and share them. What's useful, I think, here is just that there's some really nice examples of ways that you could use Google Drawing. So integrating graphics, using connectors, showing flowcharty types of relationships. So for example, this one, which is, showing flowcharts and so forth. Again, it's a collaborative tool. So your students could work together to create posters, create flowcharts, create all kinds of, create tutorials, pictographs, comic strips, and so forth. So I think there's a lot of teaching potential with Google Drawings. And really quite simple, yes.
Engineering drawings kind of thing like that.
So you can include some rudimentary mathematical symbols. Beyond that, engineering drawings, I guess I'm not familiar enough with exactly what the requirements would be for engineering drawings. Mm-hmm. So you could include, for example, pull in graphics. I don't know that you would want your students necessarily to do that freehand. I mean, there are lines, there are various kinds of line tools. There are straight lines, there are arrows, there are curved lines, there are scribble tools. If you were good enough with a mouse or a touchpad, you could create a signature. I'm not, but maybe could be if I practiced for a while. So I think you could do that. I think it would just depend on the level of polish that you wanted and how many sort of pre-made objects you wanted to integrate. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I definitely think you could do that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Are there other questions? All right. Sorry for my bumbling with the laptop. I think, I'm not sure who's next. Christy, who's next? Okay. All right, so I'm going to talk about, should be interesting. Let's see if I can get, probably have to log out of all this now, don't I? Okay. The Google Drive thing is awesome when you're using it on your own machine all the time, but when you start jumping around, it becomes real problematic in a hurry. It is. So what I'm going to talk about is actually Google Voice, and maybe I don't actually have to be, no, I think I'll log in. So we added Google Voice to this specifically because of we've heard multiple departments are getting rid of phones because they're expensive and or don't have voicemail because it's expensive. And they're assuming everybody has cell phones, which is fine, but a lot of faculty aren't actually all that excited about giving their personal cell phone to students and then having them text or call in the middle of the night or whatever. And so this really provides you an opportunity to, I've several faculty on campus actually give out they actually put on all of the communication things online. They put on all the I'll give it to all the students their Google Voice number. And there's some real advantages to this. And so we're going to talk about them a little bit. Let me first just go and show you really quickly. And I think I might actually just show you this. There's a very fast video that kind of explains it, and that might actually be more useful. So let me just, and I actually have this myself, and not right now because I'm busy doing this. Oh, I'm logged in now because I probably didn't, hang on, let me go back. Let me go back. So it does a couple of things that, I mean, I don't even use it in that way. I would use this a lot before I ever started worrying about students. I actually still have a phone, so I don't have to worry about this so much, but let me go to here.
But I use it because it allows me to create a very easy customized voicemail for pretty much any type. I can have separate ones for different kind of calls and different times of day and stuff like that. I also can get it texts me and emails me the transcript of whatever somebody said, left a message, and that's super, super helpful to me. So I'm going to actually, I think I'll just show this. It's like a minute long, and I'm gonna just, if I can get it, as soon as it decides to stop spinning. Probably should have hardwired this, huh? That's probably one of our issues. See if this works. We have no sound. Okay, this is not gonna work. All right. It's interesting that we can, okay, well, we're not worried about this right now. Basically what it's doing, what it allows you to do is kind of corral all of your different, what this is basically saying is you can corral all of your different things. So if you do have an office phone, and what you want is you want to be able to, but you're not, like, so in my case, I'm not in the office that much. So if somebody calls my office phone, it's kind of problematic because I have messages everywhere. But what I can do is I can actually tell Google Voice, say, when somebody calls this number, I want you to try calling my office first, and then I want you to try calling my cell phone, and then I want you to try calling my home phone, would be something I could do. It'll do all those for me automatically without the person having to come back and call all those different things. It also allows the person to to leave a message that is text or email or however you want to set that up. So it's super, super handy. And you can also set it up so that it comes in at certain times. Like at night, it can say something different. If you know you're only giving this number to your students, you can have a message that goes to your students, and you can have a message that goes to somebody else if you want. I use it as my message service for my phone. I don't actually use whatever it is that Verizon offers me. I don't use that at all. I use this for my phone. So let me actually just go into Google Voice and kind of show you a little bit about what it looks like. Not what yes, Google Voice, go to Google Voice. So this is my Google Voice account, and it behaves kind of like an email address, because what it's done is it keeps track of all the messages I get in a textual way and in an auditory way. And so you can see here I have this message, which sometimes it actually is way better than the one you get from the university from Microsoft, if you're familiar with that one. The translation is 100 times better. And then you also you can play it if you want to play it, which clearly didn't work, so I won't bother. It tells you where it's from, and I can add it to my address book. I can text it from here too, so I can do free text messaging from this. Obviously, there's an app for this that if you have a smartphone of any kind, there's an app that will integrate with this. It works really well. Here's my phone number. My Google phone number is this, and I could actually choose where. Oh, you can't see it, but it's over there. Let me move it. Go away. Go away. Oops. Dang it. Yeah, I'm going to try to. Yeah, there we go. Let me just move it over. It just is confusing because on this computer it looks fine, and then you're like, "Oops, come on, come on." There it is. Ah, nope, gone. Come back. Come back. There it is. Okay, we're going to just do this. Okay, now you can see the whole thing, right? Just come on, come on. Oh gosh. Okay, so you can see my voicemails, my texts. I have a history, got all kinds of things. This is my phone number. I actually you can also make like international calls and stuff from this, which is a lot cheaper than most other ways of doing this. So it's kind of handy too. And you can call, the other thing is I can make a phone call right from my computer if that's where I'm sitting and I want to just make a phone call from my computer and I don't want to use my phone at all, which is helpful because my case makes it very difficult for people to hear my phone. So I could make calls from there. The other thing that we want to look at is how we would, oh, come on. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. I think I shrunk it now. I've lost some of my bars. Yeah, it's being very difficult. So what we can do is we can go into, which we can't do at the moment. Let me see if I can go in up here. Settings. So if we go into the settings, I think it's still going. Yeah. This is where I can tell, this is how I put in there. So if I have if you had multiple phones, you can do this with a family too, but you have multiple phones that I can say, if somebody calls this is what happens. It goes to my, Verizon. I can also just set this up so that I can activate voicemail, Google voicemail on a phone. and I do that here. I can add multiple phones so that I haven't added other phones, but I can. And I can set up my voicemail and text, which is super fun because I can do that right on my computer and record a new greeting and what it says and play it and all kinds of stuff. I can decide where I want it emailed to. I have all kinds of stuff in here. And then it keeps track of, the calls and all of my groups. And this is how this is how I decide. I can also screen them. So I can just have it screen the calls. I can block them. And this is more effective generally than the blocking on your phone because it does it differently. And it just has all kinds of options in here. So it's I think it's just a really great option for everybody to really great option for everybody to use this. Like I said, even if you still have an office phone, you can make it so that they call this number and then it calls multiple places. And that's kind of handy too. And nobody ever sees your cell phone. So you give it to your students, they never see your cell phone, but you can call from your cell phone. If you called to them probably directly from your cell phone, they would see it. But they don't actually see it. So all you're going to have to do this is you just search for Google Voice and you go and you find the page on it and you just sign up. It's really straightforward. This is what you need to set up. And you just need a Google account and a touch tone phone and a computer. And that's pretty much it. And if you're going to if you want your voice, if you want an app, there's an app for your phone too that you can log in and see all your stuff. And then you just set it up, and you don't, it doesn't cost, except for a few things. There's also, if I can, it's very difficult to let's try this. You can also go through, there's a really great place that shows us, here, maybe if I scroll down. Maybe it's down here. Yeah, okay, so if we go in here, we can actually see the, where is it? They have different account, the different account types. They have down here where you have the Google Voice Lite, which is just voicemail. You have the full Google number, so that you can use that Google number if you want to. You can also do if you have Sprint. But here's all the different features of the different things that they have, so you can decide what you want to be able to do for your phone and what So if you're trying to do what I was talking about, replacing your office number with a number that's not your cell phone, then you're probably going to want to do a Google number because you're going to want a different number that the students call. But if you don't want to do that, if you just want to do your Google Voice, you can just do Google Voice and stuff like that. So, no, they can't do that. Yes, sorry. She asked if the Google Voice could buy you W phone numbers, and you can't. So you can't take your current office phone and port it over to Google. It won't to Google Voice. It won't let you do that. No, you can't make your Google Voice number be your office phone number.
Oh, right.
If you want to do it through there, but you can actually use the Google app and call from the Google app on your cell phone. She asked me if you had to use a headset to go through your computer, and if you're going to do it through your computer, you would need to. But if I have the app on my phone, I can actually make my phone call through the Google app, and then the number that the person sees is the Google app number, the Google phone number. Do you see what I'm saying? If I make a phone call the normal way I make a phone call through my phone, then the student's going to see, or whoever's going to see that number. But if you do it through the Google app, it won't. It'll call from the Google app. Is there any other questions? It's a pretty cool, powerful, free thing. It's kind of amazing that it's free because one of the reasons departments are getting rid of phones is because it's been so expensive. Some phones got rid of them, some departments got rid of them completely, and some of them got rid of just the voicemail because the voicemail is expensive. And this is it doesn't cost anything. So it's super nice.
I use Google Voice as I didn't have a voicemail, and I went through several really inexpensive answering machines, and finally I just got a Google Voice number, forwarded it to and had my office phone forward to Google Voice.
And Meg was just Meg was just saying that she was using the Google Voice thing for years in English because she didn't have any. Yeah. One other thing that is you can get local numbers for it, so nobody's having to call. If they're using a landline, they're not calling long distance, which is becoming less and less of an issue all by itself. But you can get a local number. It won't be a 766 number. It'll be something else. But you can play with that number. The number that I have, which I'm not sure where it is at this point, this number that I have actually. The 307 is clearly Wyoming, but the 0946 was actually my phone number when I was a kid. So I kind of put those together. The middle part, not so much. I thought I might be able to actually remember it if I had something that I had used before. So so you actually can go in and it'll give you a whole list of like local phone numbers, and you can kind of go through them and find one that you like, or you can say, I would really like this number, and it'll tell you whether it's available or not. And so, yeah. Any other questions, comments on that? All right. I am handing it over to, don't have any idea what's up next. It's Trina. That's right. It's Trina. So the last two here are that we're going over are more advanced, not advanced, but they're kind of slightly outside of the specific Google Drive. I was doing the Google Voice because that was helpful. And Trina's going to talk to you about Google Sites, because that's a really great way, an easy way to create web pages. Yes, so now you're up.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so it'll take me a few minutes because I have to log into my Google, and it goes up here. Okay.
While she's doing that, you were really hoping to see it and you haven't, so make sure you hit it. Are you learning about Google stuff? The Google apps are super amazing because they're free. They do so much. They're so powerful.
Okay, that does work.
If there's something I'm like, oh, I don't know if I will do that. I'll just search for like Google Sheets, this, and I'll find all the information about things that we do. I've learned so much about it. And it gives you powerful things that people have done. I have some people actually have a student create a Google document as a web page because they can actually embed videos and links, and it can basically be a web page if you want as well. It's not would be my first choice to have, but it's pretty super easy. Yeah. Embedding works pretty well with HTML. Yes. And actually the last thing we're going to do is talk about how to integrate all of this into our web page. Because that is one of the it actually has an automatic connect. So if the student puts in their Google Drive information, then they actually will have access to all the Google Drive.
I think I'm setting up a Google Voice. Can I just X out of that? I don't know why it was making me do that, but okay. I think I'm okay now. Okay.
And we do all of our professional development on Google Calendar, which we're not talking about. But we could, if somebody's really interested in the calendar, we can create Google Calendar events that then, if you do a collaborative thing, with Google Calendar stuff, which can be as well. We didn't go over that because it wasn't quite as good as we can. But yeah.
So far, so good.
That is part,
We're working on it, you guys.
I think we'll be really focused on free and things to have. So instead of like, very broad ideas of free and free to you, free and free to you, yes, exactly. Free and free to you, and that we believe to be very effective. Not just for the things that we actually have been included by multiple people, really quite effective. And the Google Drive stuff is has been really effective. One fact that I worked with, I had a student create a press release. A group of students create press releases.
There we go.
That they worked on in Google Doc, right? And you worked in Google Doc, and when they're finished, she shared that with like 3 people that were experts in the field, or they weren't experts. She shared it with 3 people that were like professionals, that were not their peers or their instructors, and then they came and so she controlled the sharing, right? They created it with just in a little group that only they could see, that she could see, and then she released it to other people by making it public or making it a web page, and then they were able to give feedback on that by commenting on it, and it was a really powerful experience for the students because they could actually get that feedback from experts, and so they really good experience. Oh, and you're up.
Okay, I'm Trina Kilty. I am a doc student in instructional technology, and as part of that, I was a GA this past year, and so I taught iTech 2360, teaching with technology, and I also work part-time at the ECTL. So I've used the Google Drive system as a staff member, as an instructor, and as a student. So probably this website option I've used it as an instructor and as a student. For ECTL, I use Sheets a lot. So to do different research on our evaluations and our participants. So I'll show you the Google Sites today, and then some of the applications that I've used as a student and how I've used it as an instructor. So the first thing I'll show you is how to actually get to it. And I've shared this with all of you because this is a really good website, a really good resource for getting started. And I'll show you that after I show you how to make one and take you to there. And it's got everything. It's really awesome. So to find a website, basically, which is a Google Sites, is making your own website. You go to more, and then you have to go to even more from Google. I think maybe this might work out better. No, okay. Yeah, okay. Usually I'm into Drive. Okay, I do a new tab and get that thing away and make a not. Okay, way over there, but I think I'm signed in as myself, so I'll see. Okay. So I go over to the series of little X's, and you have to make a website, you have to go to more, and then you have to go to even more from Google. I haven't found a shortcut, a real easy shortcut yet to do it. And then you have to scroll all the way down to Home and Office, and it's right underneath Forms. Oh, that would be helpful. Yeah. And just find it. Yeah, and that's probably a little bit faster. When I have my students do this, I just show them more and even more, and it seems to work. So here's my sites that I've made, and I'll show you some of these later on. But to create one, you basically just create one. You can select a template. You name your site. I'll just pick anything because I'll delete this later, I think. Okay, and then you've got a custom domain name that you can do. I have not done this yet, but you do that as well. Then you do the I'm not a robot and fill all that out. And then finally, when you're done, you create it. And then you've got a blank site. So I'll kind of skip all that and just show you one of these. This one is not shared. This one was an original one I've done for my doc studies, and you can see why I didn't use that. It's a huge mess. And so what I did to share it is you go over to here. So that's private only to me, and I can, once you've created kind of a blank one, you can look at different sharing and permissions, and then you can change that and make that available to anyone, or just keep it private. If you keep it private, you have to invite people. So for students, if you want to have students make a website, they have to give you the link and submit that through WyoCourses so that you can see it, and they have to put on that sharing. They have to invite you so that anyone with the link can access it. And you would change that here. So, and you would change it from off, because this is such a mess, I don't really want anyone to see this, to on. Anyone with the link has access and they can view it. So when I assign this to students to make their own website, I'll have them change this to anyone with the link, and then they submit the link through WyoCourses. And then after that, to go into the page site, it's pretty, let's see, go back to here. I think it's, oh, okay. You can do different themes and colors. You can add pages. You take you put the pencil on it and edit the page that you're on. You can add a page. This is still, like I said, not the best one to show because this is such a mess. Okay. I don't know if that's really what I want either. I want to go back. There's the link to share. No. Okay. Okay, that's more of what I was thinking about. Okay, what happened to the, let me go, just wondering what happened to that little agenda that I had. That's interesting. Yeah. Oh, that's searching sites. Okay. Going back to, I'll go back to Drive and get it. I think it's coming up. Okay. Okay, so then you just go into the different templates and the options, and you can really get lost in a rabbit hole of this, of making different things. And like what I did is I finally just gave up and started over and went through that. So you look through the manage site and the sharing for that. Now to get started, this is a really good resource. Okay. To get started with Google Sites. So it's got a ton of things on there. It is a website, it's a site itself. And this is the resource that I give students when they start to make their own website. You've got basically the questions, what's a wiki, getting started, creating a page, editing your site. It's a little bit out of date because Google Sites, well, Google just updates constantly and continuously, but it's enough that you get the gist and you can still use their instructions or her instructions and still get by and figure it out. This stuff up here is, so it's in multiple representations as well. So if you're more of I like to read it and then I'll do it, more text-based. All of these are more text-based, and then it shows you a demonstration and how to do it, a step-by-step. If you're into more of a video tutorial where you'd like to watch it and then do it, here are all the video tutorials. So she's got that on there as well. So it just depends on how you want to learn about setting up a website. There's a ton of good information in there. There's some help, so there's a lot of links. If you want to go in and do more, get more help, there's some resources, and there's some examples of Google Sites why you would want to do this, and just to get you started and give you some different things to look at. So this is a great website and resource, and so this is what I show my students when I assign this. So the last part, see if I can do this. Maybe if I go like that. Yeah, if I go. Yeah, that's it. Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah, but that is still good. So let me show you some of the examples, and then I'll go back and talk to you about the instructor. This is how I've used it as a student, and this was actually my first introduction to Google Sites was, as a doc student, we have to put together an e-portfolio of our work and assignments and all sorts of stuff. So I'll show you that, shared with everyone in the world. You kind of saw the messed up one, so hopefully this is, you know, a little bit better. I still need to do a lot of work on it, but you can insert pictures. All I have to do is edit the page and I've got pictures. I can insert a page. I went to, I think it's site layout and manage site to get this navigation in there. And I've got an introduction button so that it opens on this page itself. And let's see. Let's look at some of these. So I've set it up so that it's got an image and then some links. And also some subpages. So some of the assignments that I turned in for this, because it's a showcase of all my work. Some of them I've added in as subpages and uploaded them from the document, from a Word doc. And other ones I've linked. And they're in my Google Drive. And so I link them over. That one I'm still working on, so I don't want to show you that one. Learning and technological understanding. And it has these nice features as well when you put in an image. If I say that. When you hover over it, it is supposed to give you the alt text, which I don't know if this does or not. Well, I think it does maybe down there. And then here's a 3M Cloud Library tutorial that I put together. And I'm not going to click on it because it actually goes to a video. So you can also embed videos in here as well. But we don't have sound, so I'm not going to play it anyway. But things for different courses. And then again, the subpages on here. And if you click into one, you get another page. So I could do pages within pages. And then here's a list of just a bunch of more things that I've got. And so there you go. There's my almost 4 years of work right there. So that's an example of that you can use it as a student. And of course, being in instructional technology, we weren't given any instructions. We were just kind of thrown in there and learn it, put this on there. So that's one way you can use it. This is pretty. That's examples. And another way you can use it is, this is how I've done this with my students. There's the link for that. As student journals. So like I said, I was a GA for iTech, for teaching with technology. And this was the coordinator, Tanya Doucet, actually put this assignment together. And this is taken right from WyoCourses. This is what the students get as an exam, as the directions for how to do it. But what we did was we went through and had actual teachers. We signed up and they came on Google Hangouts and did an interview about how they actually use technology in the classroom. So we had, it was kind of an authentic interview. You could ask questions back and forth. And what they had, the students had to do with all this is keep a journal where they reflected on the technology that the teacher talked about, whether they would use it or not, new ideas that they had, different ideas that they might actually work it into their classroom someday, reflections of all sorts. And that went into this student journal. And how they set that up was they made a Google site. So they followed the steps, and you can see I gave them Mary Fran's resources as well. So they set up their website. They had to share it at least with anyone with the link could look at it so that I could grade it. And collaboration wise, it wasn't a lot. They didn't have to collaborate with each other. It was more of a kind of a public journal to reflect on what they've learned over that. And they could add more reflections on different kinds of technology. If they wanted full credit, then they had to have a few more e-journal entries. in there. So that's what that means is when you read through what the directions are. I had to grade it on clear navigation, so they had to set up their sidebar so that I could find all the teacher interviews, and everything had to be, and what they could do is just paste it from Word directly in there. So, and it went really well. I didn't get a lot of questions on this. We used a lot of different technology, and I got a lot more questions on how do you do this for other things, but not a lot on sites. Just about everybody. One person, I think, asked if she could do something besides sites to turn it in, and I let her. I mean, it was fine. It was kind of meant to give you an introduction on how to create a website, but otherwise, everybody used Google Sites. Everybody got it up and running. I didn't have anybody say, I just can't do this at all. And by that time, because we had used Google Slides, they all had a Gmail account. So that helped as well. I can't show you any of their work because I didn't get permission thinking that I'd have to do anything like this, but they were a little bit, they basically look like mine, except not as much stuff. It was a little more pared down. And I think that's, yeah. Okay, well, and I think I shared this, like I said, the agenda. So you have that Mary Fran's website, and that's a really good thing to get started, and some examples, so great.
All right, so we're gonna transition actually back into WyoCourses in an effort to kind of tie this all together to show you some of the ways that you can use the Google tools or Google apps within WyoCourses. And to reframe again, in order for you as an instructor to use Google in WyoCourses, you actually have to have a Google account. So that should probably be the first thing that you do, is go to Google and sign up for a Google account. And then once you actually have a Google account, then you can go into WyoCourses and sign in WyoCourses so that that is a registered service. And I'm gonna do that. And I guess for account, I'm jumping here. If I'll maybe log out of Trina's, or maybe I'll just, yeah. Anyway, new window. See if it'll let me do it. Or maybe I'll just go. Well, for this, maybe I'll just go to WyoCourses first instead. But anyway. Sorry for the lag on the wireless here. We should have plugged ourselves in. So do all of you use WyoCourses to start with? Yeah, most of you? All right, excellent. That's a good start for this part anyway, if we can ever get there. You don't mind if I just use yours? I don't know how that came up, but interesting. That, I don't know, that was a completely new window. And yeah. On Jeff's laptop, no less, right? Okay. So, well, for what I wanted to show you first off is the account settings. So in order to register Google as in WyoCourses, you need to go to your account, and that's the top little button on the left-hand side, and then you go into settings. And then under settings, there's this list down here that says registered services, and Meg has already signed up for Google, but I'll just click on one of them And basically all you have to do, this is a full LTI integration. So all you have to do is enter your username and password, the same one that you use to log into Google, and it'll connect it right up. And this is the exact same process that your students will have to do in order to register their Google accounts within WyoCourses. So just be aware of that as well. In order for them to participate in the collaborations, et cetera, then they actually have to have a Gmail account as well. Go back into an actual course. And the tool that I'm going to be talking about first is called the collaborations tool in WyoCourses. And there used to be two options. You used to be able to choose Etherpad or Google Docs as a collaboration tool, but now it's only Google Docs. And as you can see on the navigation here, it's grayed out. So we're going to have to actually activate collaborations, and then I'll go in and show you how to create a collaboration, which is a Google Doc collaboration. But the LTI integration makes it a little bit easier because you don't have to go in and click on the blue share button and go find everyone's email and worry about whether or not they have a Google account, et cetera, et cetera. So first I'll go into settings and make this available in the course just to have everything working correctly. And I'll go to application. So we'll click on collaborations, and it's very easy once we get there. Okay, and we don't, again, have any choice. It's just Google Docs, but we'll start a collaboration. And in order to do that, we'll give the document a name. Let's call this and I don't need to give it a description, but because this is a large class, I'm just going to go ahead, instead of harassing everyone with the notifications, I'm going to just share this with a few different people instead of everyone. I'll share it with Trina. Maybe I'll share it with Shaggy too. So, and then we'll hit start collaborating. And what this essentially does is it just creates a Google Doc with the name that you just gave it. And it automatically sends out the collaboration invitations to anyone that you've clicked on that list. And it's quicker and easier than going to have to search for everyone's. Oh, okay. That's odd, but I'll just choose that one. Hopefully it won't. Oh, oh, Christy, funny, sorry. Oh, how odd. And again, you'll never have all these problems if you're using your computer and you're logged into Chrome and you're in your account. This will all be completely seamless, but this is great fun for all of us to try to teach technology. It always goes wrong for us whenever we're trying to use it. Thank you, Meg. Oh, great, yes. Thank you. Okay, so I've created a Google Doc collaboration within WyoCourses, and the students would go into WyoCourses and click on that collaboration to access it. But once they've started accessing it from Google Drive, they can also get it from there too. So we can go back into the collaborations right here, and we'll see it was started by Meg a couple minutes ago. These are current collaborations, and you can go in and you can delete the collaboration. You can also edit it, and when you click on the edit, you can go in and add more people. Maybe I'll add Velma in there too, somewhere out there in the ether. So just added a few more collaborators, and I'll hit update collaboration. Yeah, right. Okay, so that's the basics of how to start a collaboration. Two other ways that I've found people use Google Docs specifically, and Google Sheets and Google Forms within WyoCourses, is to embed them. And we've already worked with this a little bit, but when you go to embed a Google Doc in WyoCourses, there's one kind of step that you have to take that you don't take the way that Oksana showed the slides embed. With the slides embed, it actually automatically embeds the player. But with Google Doc, you actually have to do a tiny bit with the HTML. So I'm going to show you that way to do it, and then I'm also going to show you how to just share it as a URL from a WyoCourses module. So the first thing I'm going to do is go into Pages, and I'm going to go and actually take this blank document. And the first thing that we need to do if we're going to essentially publish a Google Doc or form or sheet to the web is we go into the File menu and we hit Publish to the Web. And we get two options. There's Link or Embed. And for me, right now, I'm just going to choose the Embed one. But first, I have to publish it. And that's essentially agreeing to share my content to the web in the way that I decide. So I'm going to copy out the embed code out of here. And then I'm going to go back into my WyoCourses course, and I'm going to jump into a page, which it looks like I'll need to open up as well. So I'm going to go into the navigation and activate our Pages tool in WyoCourses. Okay. I'm going to go to View All Pages and create a brand new page. And this is one of the few times that I've found that you actually do get into the HTML functionality of WyoCourses. It does everything so well for us that we don't usually have to get underneath the hood, so to speak. But with this, we actually do. So you can't quite see it, but that just says plus new page. So I'm going to create a new page, and then I'm going to just call it test embed. And then I'm actually going to click on this HTML editor tool right here. And so this is going to take us into the part where we can actually start using real code in WyoCourses. And I'll paste it in. And there's kind of a little jump that you do. So right now, this is just taking what Google gave us, but we actually need WyoCourses to give us something back. So I'm just going to hit Save right here. Or actually, I'm going to jump back to the rich content editor. And I can change the size of the doc as it will appear here by clicking on this. But I can also change it just by remembering kind of a simple thing. What we do is just replace the width number with 100%. And then the height number with 600. And that's just kind of a general rule of thumb. You can also do what I showed you earlier. You can click and drag instead. But what I found is that 100 and 600 are pretty good numbers. 100% for the width and 600 for the length on the page. And I'm just going to hit Save and Publish. Yeah, okay, so, all right, excellent. Thank you for giving me some content. That was the next thing I realized I was going to have to do. So wonderful, beautiful. So we have the Fox kits. And the neat thing to realize about this is that it constantly updates. So you could have a single Google Doc that you've embedded in 20 WyoCourses courses. And actually, I've seen this in practice in a department where you have they really want to have a really close control over the content that is being taught in a specific series of courses. One person will have a Google account and they'll create the pages, and so that any change that they make in that page is immediately reflected in all of those different places that they've embedded that same page. So it's a really good way to centralized content management as far as teaching online goes. So that's one way to do it. And the next way to do it that I mentioned is we're going to create a external URL and a module. And to do that, we're going to go back to our source document with the cute pups that Meg added in there. Thank you again. And I'm going to grab the link from it. So get it all here, copy. And I'm going to go back to our WyoCourses course and go to modules. And I'm just going to add another content item into this module, into the introductions module, just because it's there and it's easy. And go to external URL and paste it in and hit add item and publish it. And I'm also going to give it a title just so that there'll be something to click on. Okay, and then we'll click on it. And then we have the very same doc. And another kind of neat thing about the way that this goes is that if you open this document up to the world, then anyone who is in the course can edit it without all of the different access privileges and Google Docs accounts that we talked about. So in some ways, this is like a little bit of a backdoor that if you don't want to really deal with everyone having to have Google accounts, you could still open up something for everyone to edit without that using this kind of technique here. But so those are kind of 3 ways that you can think about using Google Apps or Google Tools in WyoCourses. But just remember, everyone has to have an account and everyone has to have it as a registered service in their personal settings. Trina is going to talk about how this works from the student perspective, I think, just briefly.
Okay. We'll see if I can log out and who it will log me in as. Okay. Yeah, probably log out of this first. Okay, that's promising. Maybe that's too fast. Huh. Isn't that interesting? Yeah. After I put in my credentials. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, we're in Firefox now. Let's try. Yeah, and you know, this has happened in the class that I mentioned that I taught. This also happened to us, that when students had to come up and present things that they had done with technology, often it would just revert to mine no matter what they tried to do. I would have to use different browsers. Yeah, that's how we got around it. It is really weird, yeah. And it would keep reverting. This looks promising. I think this is it. But how do I get that? Yeah, how do I get the rest of that over? I want the stuff to the side. Okay, that will, there it is there. I just want to find.
Is this? Can we,
Huh.
I don't know.
Can I actually? Oh, I might.
Show that over.
Okay, I'm going to a different course just in case this doesn't show up. The one that I'm a student. Why would, okay,
Okay, is that right?
so here I am as a student, and I'm going to turn in something, an assignment. Okay, it isn't quite right there. Okay, so if you see that if I've already, yeah, that does look, if I've already put in my credentials, I have that Google Doc as an option. Okay. Then I'm going to authorize it to access. Why would I leave this site?
Not really, but.
Yeah, I guess. Okay. Well, that's different. Hmm.
Log out of there. We haven't successfully logged out of Google. That's true. So go up to the, yeah.
Try to log out of that. Okay. Yeah, because I was on sign in with a different account. Okay. I will try to. Okay. So I'm going to allow this. Now I'm back to here. I've added the Google Drive, and that's my drive. And I will add this. And this one, just as a time saver, I have, okay, it says it's successfully submitted. Up there as a student. As a time saver, I submitted something that was already open to everybody because that's the agenda that I shared with you and everything. One thing as an instructor that you may run into is if they leave it private and then they try to submit it like this. You may have some issues, like when you go in to grade it, it may say something like you have to request access to this, and then you have to get a hold of them. And so you might want to talk about that before it's due, because otherwise you go to grade it. And this has happened to me as well, because we've had to do a number of Google things for assignments in teaching with technology. I had to remind people ahead of the due date to make sure that that was set to either public or somebody with a link can access it, because if I let the deadline go by and then went in to grade everything and then found that, you know, there's a whole bunch of permission that I had to request to be able to view it, that was kind of a problem. So just make sure that if they use this option, that they've sort of published it so that either anyone with the link can view it, or it's just open and public on the web. And there it is. And as an instructor, then you would see a submission. So that's where we'll leave it. Okay.
Question. So did the reason that it gave you Google Docs as an option when you went to submit assignment is because we were logged in on this computer with my Google account, right? Like if you were not currently logged into Google, would it not give you that Google Docs tab option? Do you know?
You know, I don't remember, because it's been so long since with WyoCourses that I authorized it right away.
Oh, and then it'll just force you to log in, if like it did her.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Okay. All right. So wrap up, I guess. Sure, I can do it. All right. Well, first of all, thank you everyone for coming. I'm going to stop sharing screen here. Yeah. So thank you all for coming. And looks like everybody left. Oh, there's Oksana. Okay. Hi, Oksana. So thank you for coming to this. And our next, so I'm going to need some help here. So our next boot camp is, and it's on video and media, multimedia. So we will talk about things like Camtasia probably and Zoom and so web conferencing and screen capture stuff and what? YouTube. Okay. And any other announcements? Touch this afternoon, 1 to 3.
And we have, throughout the summer, we'll have open property support sessions, we call touch, from 1 to 3 every Monday, in code 5 cent hour. So if you don't come today, or if you do come today and you encounter some questions that you want to share with us, or something that you want to work on in the weeks intervening between the boot camp sessions, come to touch.
All right.
And touch is open for any question you might have. It can be about a specific, how do I actually do this, to I wondering how the best way to present something is pedagogical, all the way to very technical, whatever seems like something you like to know about.
All right. Thank you, Oksana, as well.